Did you turn that back? Yeah, okay. Well, here we are, night racing at Sydney Motorsport Park, and I can tell you I'm excited for a couple of reasons, because this adds such a different dynamic to what we're so used to doing or not doing. Now, you've got to approach it from two sides here, really. One from the team's point of view and one from driving in the dark. How are you going to manage it from driver's point of view? So let's have a look at the team first, from a race strategy point of view. First of all, we know there's going to be 77 laps, but where this changes dramatically for us, during the course of our year, as you know, most of our races, we have a minimum fuel drop over the 120 or 140 litres we have to put in the car. Now, the reason for that is to kind of equalise, to not turn it into a fuel race up and down pit lane. But this is more like a little mini Bathurst, if you like, because there is no minimum fuel drop. What there is here's our fuel, is 1, 2, 3 fuel stops that you have to do. Now, it doesn't matter if you put in 1 litre or 100 litres. You can put in whatever you like. But what I can tell you, to do the race, if you start with a full tank, you're going to need 130 litres. Now, where you do that, again, is up to you. But I know a couple of things. I reckon everyone is going to start with a full tank. So in Formula One, we used to hear about, if you start with less fuel, you can go faster. Well, that is true, but I can tell you the gain in a V8 supercar is not sufficient to require the extra fuel time in the pit lane. So you're going to start with a full tank. We know that. These will be determined, I think, by your tyre usage, and we do know that you're going to finish, obviously, with very little fuel in the car at the end. Now, problem being, if we bring in our critical lap, which is the earliest you can stop in the race, fill up the car and make it home. Now, that critical lap is... there it is, lap 42. Now, that all looks pretty sweet, so you sort of think, well, why don't we just do that? But why would you do that? Because I tell you, if I bring my tyre out and put it there, there is no way around this place that your tyre is going to last from there to there. It falls off a cliff at about 15 laps. So you're going to have to do something like that. So the best thing that could happen for the race would be safety car, if I turn that on. If a safety car came out right about probably somewhere around a critical lap, forcing everyone to do that, making their tyres last longer, that would make for a terrific race. Right, let's now talk driver stuff, driving under lights. This is a totally new dynamic. Don't underestimate how difficult this is going to be. Any elite athlete in any game of sport really is consumed. Their mind, their brain should be consumed with what they're doing. When we look at the driver's brain, right, and there's Shane Van Gisbergen, we've sort of dissected him so we can have a look. How it kind of works. You take in you use your different sensory perceptions, right? Visual, auditory, kinesthetic. Now, the kinesthetic is sort of the balance, the gut feel through your bum, your internal G meter, your vestibular system, which is your sense of balance, and all of that stuff, and your proprioceptive system, did well to get that right, eh? So that is all the little receptors in your body that feel forces. They're on your skin, your bones, and all of that goes in the same way when you're learning to ride a push bike or a ski or a skateboard. You don't change the shocks and springs to get better at it. Over time, you develop these systems and you get better at it. Problem is, when we talk about dark around here, because it's not very light, I can tell you, even under lights, we've now taken away some of the visual input, right? So if you can imagine someone with impaired vision driving a car around here, they would actually be very good because they would have had to develop by default these other systems. So drivers around here are going to have to be using auditory to a higher standard, so they're going to have to be listening to what the engine's doing, what the car's doing when it's scraping, what the tyres are doing, the kinesthetic, feeling the car moving through the corner, and all of that goes into the brain and spits out the other side to determine what your hands and your feet do to steer the car. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about. Here's Craig Lowndes last night running wide. I mean, he's not a dill, he doesn't usually run out there, but as he enters the corner, he can't see the exit, right? So you've got to try and firstly use muscle memory to go to where you need to be, but use all those other senses to feel the slip of the car, to feel what it's doing, to know where you've got to get to. Now, the other really critical thing, and I reckon this is going to be a game changer tonight, when we look at our circuit, the lights, I can tell you, and there's 50 of them all the way around, they're very intentional. They point downstream. They point at the apexes of the corners, so they're kind of behind the drivers. But the way this circuit works, look, it goes that way and that way at each other. So when the drivers are coming around some of these through parts, they actually get this. If you look at Michael Caruso last night, look in his revision mirrors. See that? Here's a car coming into his background, but it's not a car, it's actually a spotlight from over the back. And if we look at that and watch his other mirror here at different times, they get these reflections. Now, talking to Scotty Pye, he said it's really kooky. He said he thinks there's a car going up the inside, but it's actually the spotlights. Here, look at that. Tell me that doesn't look like there's a car there. So when we get into race mode tonight, I think with cars all around, you're going to see one or two things. One, you're going to make a mistake or leave a spot because you think there's a car there, or you're going to turn in on it because you think there's not. Now, look at that. That's a spotlight. That's a car behind you. Tell me you could pick the difference between two of those. So sit back, relax. I can tell you the atmosphere out here is electric. Really excited about this race.
That is Mark Larkham breaking down everything that you need to know this weekend, even dissecting parts of Shane Van Gisbergen's brain ahead of tonight's race. Didn't expect that we'd see that.
Kinesthetic, was it? I struggled with that one, but it was nice.
The other word that he managed to roll off as well.
I struggled to stand up at times, so well done, Larko, for getting that outstanding job. What a great explanation of what's to come. 300 kilometres, the Virgin Australia Supercars Championship in that scene. Yep. What a picture.
There is still a glimmer of sunset over the Blue Mountains at the moment, but it looks darker and darker out there to be proper night time soon. And we are about 90 minutes away from the Supercars race starting. So if you're locked on right now to Channel 506, don't go anywhere. It's only going to get better from here. Perfect night for racing in Sydney, and this has been excellent so far. We continue with Porsche Carrera Cup. Earlier, it was the Pro-Am Asia versus Australia race. Now we switch our attention to the Pro race, and we've got some heavy hitters out there, drivers who will be on the grid at the Bathurst 1000. We've got drivers out there who have won the Asian Championship, have dominated in regional championships like Carrera Cup France, for example. It's a very talented looking lineup. 23 of them trailsing 16 laps, and we have the Carrera Cup Asia drivers running down the left-hand side. They'll be queuing up behind Martin Raginger, and on the right-hand side of the racetrack, it'll be the Aussies, including David Wall off the front row.
Chris van der Drift, the champion, hasn't had a great weekend, but he did win the toss to get them pole position for this race on Thursday night at a welcome function in Sydney. So pole goes to Martin Raginger, who has been very, very fast and won round 6 of Carrera Cup Asia earlier on today. David Wall starts alongside him. Will Bamber and Dylan O'Keefe make up round 2. Philip Hamprecht, who was so good earlier today with a victory in Carnival 199, goes from 5th. James Moffat next. Shui Yui from 7th and Dale Wood next. Van der Drift from 9th, and strange seeing him that far back. Cameron Hill starts from 10th place. The young man from Canberra who's had a really good weekend. And watch for Maxime Juice from 11th. He is one to make moves.
Yeah, his starts in particular have been strong this weekend. Jackson Evans, who is leading the Australian Championship, starting as far back as 12th. Jordan Love, who has already won a race this weekend, starting back in 14th. I've got a lot of work to do.
2 joint races have been held for pro competitors. The first one won by Matt Campbell here in 2016. Nick McBride and Alex Davison next. The pro race at Sepang last year was won by Chris van der Drift. David Wall fought him all the way, led 8 of 10 laps. Got past towards the end and finished 2nd. Philip Hamprecht was on the podium there. So again, it's 1-1 Asia v Australia. This is the tiebreaker.
And this is your final race on the undercard. The last of the supports.
Green flag. Green
ready
flag.
to go racing in Sydney. The pros are out on the grid. The first corner, slight contact in the mid-pack, and this is exactly what we've been talking about. It is properly dark out there, and awareness at this part of the racetrack will be very difficult on the opening lap.
For whatever reason, David Walters has not been able to know his starts lately. That's busy, 3 wide, and it's all friendly fire Carrera Cup Australia, guys. A little bit of contact there. Pete Major getting into the back of Adam Garwood, that was. They're a little bit further down the field. Great start. Dylan O'Keefe has nailed them today. Up to second place, Ragginger leads.
Porsche's flying at night. Jordan Love trying to go the long way around. It's not going to quite make that one stick there. He's trying to get Dale Wood, his teammate, on the outside. He's got Johan Bowe in behind them. He finished second in the Pro-Am race here 2 years ago. He's made that switch now. We go on board with Daniel Liu. What an experience this will be for a 17-year-old.
Jackson Evans looking down the inside of Maxime Juice. That's 9th and 10th. Jackson really disappointed after race 2 of Carrera Cup Oz. The championship race earlier today. He said, we're going to throw some stuff at this car just to see what it does, make some changes, experiment and learn later on. O'Keefe is leaning on Ragginger.
An Austrian leading the way from the Asian series. And he's got some talent behind him right now, including Dylan O'Keefe. And Ragginger makes a mistake. The door is open here. And O'Keefe will easily get the move done for the lead.
And Bamba's going to follow. They go wheel to wheel with Ragginger down the straight to be in the right position for that run at turn 1.
And David Wall will try and go with him. The Porsches by the grandstand, 230 kilometres per hour, and then swing it in here at over 200 clicks.
Cleared him. Good move, Will Bamba. Goes to second place.
They were side by side, and he had the inside sit. It's not over yet, because here comes David Wall, and Ragginger's going to go from 1st to 4th, getting relegated through the pack.
Another nice pass by David Wall. Following them is Chris van der Trift. So he said what for the current championship leader and the defending champion of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. He's gone up from P9 to P5. What a great start. There's a certain irony in the fact that Kiwis currently lead both Carrera Cup Australia and Asia at the moment. So this is Carrera Cup New Zealand we're watching at the moment.
As well as the Virgin Australia Supercars Championship.
Correct. Hello to all of our friends watching across the Tasman. It's an Aussie in front though, the young Victorian who got his first ever Carrera Cup race win earlier today. That's a move.
It's Armand and gets that one done nicely. It's up the inside of Tanat Safi Empirical. Gets that done brilliantly, and it'll get worse here for Ragginger. 5-second time penalty for the creeping that we saw on the start line.
I was wondering if they would notice that. It's the old Sydney Motorsport Park thing, isn't it? You need 3 feet just to launch one of these cars. One on the clutch, one on the brake, one on the throttle. Find a big move looking up the inside. Jordan Love. This is on Phil Hamprecht.
These are the guys who won the 2 races today. So this is on a 21-year-old and a 19-year-old. German versus Australian. Dale Wood going along for the ride. A really good exit. Oh, someone really wide and over out the outside. Was that Maxime Juice? Might have been. He's going to be...
Oh, Dale Wood was involved in that fight as well.
Technically under fire down here. Handbrake now.
Jordan Love, we know... Actually, these two both wildly committed at turn 1 all across the weekends.
Very true.
Never seen more Carrera Cup 3 wide at turn 1 at Sydney Motorsport Park. We saw in 2 races today. Extraordinary stuff.
This little battle pack coming through. They're queuing up. And amongst this fight is James Moffat with Mike Armand. Daniel Liu now, we go on board with the 17-year-old. Shui Yui is the next driver from Porsche Carrera Cup Australia in his sights. Car 177, the Jebsen entry up the road. These guys are fighting a little bit further down the order.
So that was what Larko was talking about before we came to the race, about different light sources all around the venue that the drivers need to filter out. Fortunately, Daniel Liu's got a bunch of race cars in front of him. He's down the field, 20th position at the moment. Now Jordan Love down the inside of Handbrake. He went. Oh, gee. Was he far enough up the inside, or did Handbrake close the door? The net result is the young German is pointing in the wrong direction and tumbling down the timing monitor.
Watches the train go by. Contact between Love and Handbrake. The German who comes off worst.
Every year, before the start of this race, the pro drivers in particular go, no, we're just going to go out and get the 10 points we get for starting and just cruise around. And every single year, they're lying to us. And they put on a great show. What a race. And Bamba's going out after Dylan O'Keefe. So here's the start. It's O'Keefe with a whole shot from the second row of the grid. So watch the blue and white car. Closest to camera now, goes past David Wall and goes out after Martin Ragginger, who penalised that 5 seconds, which will elevate Van der Drift up to 4th place. But David Wall just cannot get these cars off the line at the moment.
Need to spend a night over at City Dragway over the back part of the circuit, work on those starts.
And this was the wheel-to-wheel combat that kicked things off between Jordan Love and Phil Hamprecht. So this is 10 and 11. And this would ultimately tee off a lap later around at the turn 8 hairpin. And so they look faster on the lights. I tend to agree. it's cool. And that's the contact. Hard to say. Hamprecht was defending pretty aggressively. This might show a little bit better. Jordan Love will appear in his driver's door now. Fair old whack, actually. And if Jordan Love has avoided any broken steering, then he's doing a good job.
Whoa.
And this has just happened. Is it Jordan Love? It sure is. I wonder if that's a side effect. We've seen that. Maxime Juste did that. And speaking of, he goes past in the Carrera Cup Asia race. So a big moment there for Jordan Love. He runs 8th. He's hanging on at the moment.
It's been a pretty good drive either way because he started back in 14th. So he's been moving through the pack.
He's been passing. I don't know what Sonic Motor Racing did to their cars. I know they had good tyres for race 2 of Carrera Cup Australia. So they put good Michelins on, but man, they switched them on fast. They were quick. That's Moffat down the inside of Cameron Hill. Good pass.
Nasty out there as well, isn't it? You can see that through the headlights. Keith Bamber, Wall in the top 3. Stewart Racing, leading Earl Bamber Racing, leading David Wall Racing.
Jordan Love's not leaving anything on the table, is he? Got that first race win out of the way. Finished 3rd for the round overall, his 2nd Carrera Cup Australia round podium. Terrific weekend for the youngster from Perth. And now just going out, putting on a show, which is what we love. The young drivers driving great cars really hard. And this is just like a Carrera Cup Australia race because it's Dale Wood, Evans, Love, Moffat, Hill, Armand. All familiar names. Maxime Juste is in behind them. What's going on out in front? Well, O'Keefe and Bamber are just trading fast second times at the moment. They're split by 0.8 of a second, so not much to report in terms of a battle yet. But let's see if David Wall can haul them in.
Grandstand once again. And there will be a drive-through penalty to Jordan Love for contact with Philip Hamprecht, and a drive-through penalty. It is served.
And Van der Drift.
Yeah, saw him duck off to the left-hand side.
Yeah, into pit lane. So that removes one of the key Carrera Cup Asia contenders from the mix at the front of the field.
Lucky that it's happened in a non-points paying race.
Yeah.
He might just be having that kind of year.
Yet to finish off the podium. Well, actually, his 2nd race today was his 1st time off the podium in Carrera Cup Asia this year. So the best kind of title defence. There is a very experienced Kiwi. He's a double champion in this category. I wonder if there's something wrong with that car that he's just decided to call it a day. Bearing in mind, they get 10 points for starting the race towards their championship. So technically, they only need to take the green flag, and they could have pitted if they wanted to save the race car. And as we touched on at the start of the Pro-Am race, they get loaded into a container tonight, and they leave the country tomorrow. It's a very quick turnaround, and they're on a boat for almost a month before they get to Singapore for the next round of Carrera Cup Asia. And the last thing they want to do is take bent race cars there. So the teams will work through the night tonight to load these cars up. Got to be clean so they can clear customs at the other end, put them on the shipping containers. Gibson Freight will take care of the rest. It's a massive exercise. They do it well.
This will be Love diving into the pits to serve the drive-through. And that will release James Moffat, who now moves up to 6. So O'Keefe, Bamber, Wall, the top 3. Ragginger, Wood, Evans, Moffat. Love falls all the way back down through the pack. Hill, Armand and Juice wrap up the top 10.
This is Jackson Evans on Dale Wood. We've seen this battle a few times this year in championship racing for Carrera Cup Oz. Said before the start, Jackson was pretty despondent after race 2 of Carrera Cup Australia. Finished down in 7th place. Saw a 60-point championship lead turned into 13 points going into the next round of the championship. He said, we're just going to throw a few things at this car and see what we can unlock for this race this afternoon, this evening. And I think he'll be pretty happy with what he's got so far because it seems to have good pace.
Getting greedy with the track limits at the exit of turn 05.
don't think they're too concerned about penalties from this point further forward. Bragging rights only from now on. They've got their 10 points for starting, which will go towards their championship campaign.
This is the fight right now between Evans, oh sorry, I should say Wood and Evans, fighting over P5. It's generally harder to pick the cars out at night, which makes perfect sense, I suppose.
When we talked about that, it's the bright headlights these cars have got, and they're way brighter than the headlights the supercars are using, so I think it might be easier when we get to the Virgin Australia Supercars race later on this afternoon. Massively bright LEDs, the factory road-going lamp that you'll find in a Porsche 991 GT3 RS road car on which the race car is based. It's a good battle. Evans, as close as he's ever been now to Dale Wood. Does he have a go at turn 2? He's in the right position. Not quite close enough.
This is McElroy versus Sonic. Two of the front-running teams in Carrera Cup. McElroy have held the advantage here recently.
Oh.
Peter Major into the tyre wall. The West Aussie stuck.
I'd like to tell you where.
Yeah.
I'll come back to you on that.
Sure, he doesn't quite know where. Down there.
Could be up at... I think he's crossed the line. Evans down the inside. Wood, nice move. Really well judged. Wood gives him racing room. Tries to fight back. Jackson covers his line. Good bit of racing, but a great run out of turn 4. Committed early inside of Block 05 corner to grab the spot away. So Jackson up to 5th place.
Jordan Love going down pit road again is
Major. Kept driving.
He's doing a bit of bush bashing out there right now. And
remember, had that wild moment in race 2 this afternoon. Oh,
turn 1.
Here we go.
Here we go. It's not his first time off at turn 1 today.
Oh, it's almost a carbon copy, Chad, of what he did early on.
I mean, this time he's gone the fence.
Well, the gravel trap's done its job there, and the gentlest of little contacts into the tyres.
Wow-wee. That just kept going and going and going until it found the fence. He's still out there.
He's fired that car off the road. 200 clicks at turn 1 twice in 2 races. Got away with it. Go and buy a lottery ticket, Pete Major.
Lucky man. That one went a little bit earlier in the corner. Big speed at that point. And it just nosed into the tyre wall. Still dropping gravel, you can hear it.
How fast do you think that felt? They say everything speeds up at night time.
Scary.
Yeah. Oh, it's not wrong.
O'Keefe's building this lead, 1.7 seconds. Will Bamber, who was strong right from practice. Early practice times showed that he could run with the Aussies, and we're seeing that right now. He's out there right now with the defending champion behind him. So good speed from Will Bamber. Looking forward to seeing his brother Earl take to Australia for the Persic Enduro Cup. He'll be lining up with Shane Van Gisbergen.
It's a great co-driver signing. Will Bamber's going to impress a lot of people. Got a lot of supercar miles, but
ironically he replaces Matt Campbell, who won this race 2 years ago.
He's busy with Enduro commitment to the World Endurance Championship. One more winner. It's a good story. They'll set up this race team this season in Carrera Cup Asia. It's interesting, Chad, that a couple of the Carrera Cup Asia guys, the pros in particular, competitive animals that they are, going, oh, gee, we're 9/10 slower than the Aussies in qualifying. I don't think we're going to be able to race them. You know, we're a little bit hesitant that this will be a great show, but you know, there is a massive advantage for Carrera Cup Australia. A, they come here every year. B, they had a massive test day 2 weeks ago where everyone completed more than 80 laps. Local knowledge really does play a role. But it's easy to look at the times and get despondent, but when you go motor racing, things change so often, don't they? And you rise up. And I think the other factor in that is that no one has raced in these conditions. So it's just a level playing field again. And that's part of the joys of one-make Porsche racing. Everyone's got the same gear. You level the conditions, anyone can have a crack at winning a race.
I totally agree. You could put them up against the US Comp or any of the European competitions, even Super Cup. Same stuff around the world. And that's why we've seen so many of our drivers go overseas, running the varying major championships that they have, like the one at Le Mans with some 80-odd cars in it, which Mark Zini's competed in. Stephen Grove off doing Super Cup this year.
And that's the joy. It's the same race car. So the same car that Stephen Grove raced at Hungary 7 days ago was the same car that he's driving this weekend for Grove Racing, now leading the Jaguar Pro-Am battle in Worcester Security Carrera Cup Australia. You can go and drive in America, you can They've raced them in long distance races. Bathurst 12 hour, they're a big part of that actually. The event organisers there just announced a partnership with Carrera Cup Oz that the current spec cars from this series will be able to race in the Bathurst 12 hour next February, where you'll see more of the nighttime running. So that's a great addition to the field. The all-round race car. There we go.
Well down at turn 2. Just scraping the left side tyres, Dan Liu. It's had a really good first time here in Australia.
Now that's going to be interesting, isn't it? Because that breeze dropped off earlier on this afternoon. That dust's going to hang in the air. I'm thinking like one of the supercar races, there's probably half the field's going to be dropping wheels off there at the start. It's going to be really interesting to see. It'll be backlit in the light as they blaze through.
I saw that during the 6 p.m. practice last night. And that was the big difference. The supercars drivers will at least have some kind of a look at nighttime conditions before their race. It's been happening directly off the back of this one. And Carrera Cup, all their racing has been during the daylight here at Sydney Motorsport Park this weekend. Some probably even driven a race car at night. The advantage for the Carrera Cup Asia guys is their next race is a nighttime event, Singapore Grand Prix.
A lot of guys with endurance racing experience, especially the Carrera Cup Asia guys. A lot of Europeans in that field. So VLM series, Nürburgring Nordschleife, N24, Spa 24. Some of the Aussies perhaps not quite so much. 5 to go. This is the battle for second and third. It's Australia and New Zealand, but the Kiwi is representing Carrera Cup Asia. His name's Will Bamber from Wanganui, the North Islands. The Bamber family hail from. Great tradition of successful Kiwis. They're everywhere. From Scott Dixon in IndyCar racing to Earl Bamber and World Endurance Championship to Scotty McLaughlin at the pointy end of Virgin Australia Supercars to both of the regional Carrera Cups. Just produced so many good drivers.
Stands Martin Ragginger, who sits P4 with that 5-second time penalty hanging over his head, won't actually lose much time as a result. He will maybe even hang on to 4th at the moment with that 10-second gap back to Jackson Evans. Now it's on here. We go on board with Wall, and we're peeling our way through traffic. Yes, we are. That's Pete Major, who's already been in the fence, just trying to let these guys go through.
Trying to collect himself still after that moment. It would have felt like he's firing off the road at 450 kilometres an hour. Based on what the supercar guys were saying last night, how everything feels like it's sped up, racing in fast forward under lights. It's a great representation though, isn't it? Chad, two drivers from Carrera Cup Australia. Simple words, probably. In first and third, and Carrera Cup Asia in second and fourth. And that might be about to change. Here goes David Wall.
Oh, shallow entry at 1.
He looked. We've seen this work a couple of times this weekend though. Show the nose at 1, unsettle the rival in front at 2. They go too deep, they kick up some dust. Couldn't get it done that time. Wall using all of his vast amount of experience both in these cars and at this venue, home track. Remember, from the Sydney side.
See, that was interesting. So Will Bamber actually covered down there at turn 2, even though David Wall was nowhere near close enough to make the move. Why? Because you can't tell how close he is.
Yeah.
Because all he sees in his mirrors is headlights. So that's how the night racing changes things. Had no idea how close David Wall was, so he thought, I'll just cover him just in case. Looks close because of the headlights. And the funny thing was, Wally was nowhere near close enough to send it up the inside.
Look how bright those headlights are on the back of Will Bamber's car. It's just a white blob in front of David Wall, so you can understand what he's seeing in his mirrors, Will Bamber.
It's like having someone with the high beams on behind you going down the highway.
Tailgating, yeah.
It's one of those, just move the mirror off and eyes forward from that point onwards.
I don't think they keep the little dimmer switch on the... I think that's a racing option.
There's Wood v Moffat. See these two on the grid at Bathurst this year.
Carl Wood's had a great season. To be at the front of the field. He's formed a really good relationship with his engineer, Marcus Koch, who's running the Poly4 car this year. They've got a great engineering group at Sonic. With Mike Henry, former Holden Racing team boss, in there as well. Obviously the vast experience of the Ritters as that team celebrates 20 years at the top end of Aussie motorsport. How's the talent they've produced? Still punching on top of the Virgin Australia Supercars Championship. 3 to go. Dylan O'Keefe. It's been a great weekend for the young Melbourneian. Oh, that's a moment. Moffat got that wrong. Just got caught up underneath Darwood's rear wing. Just grabbed the inside front brake and rattled the car wide. That just takes the pressure off car 18.
Track looks pretty quick at the moment. 1:31.0, fastest lap of the race set by the leader Dylan O'Keefe. The lap record here at 1:30.9, which has lasted since 2014.
Well, 30.5 now because Mike Armand beat that this afternoon. But to be 0.5 off that
in these conditions
on older tyres and not using good rubber in this race.
Bodes well for what we'll see in the supercars later. We saw a lightning fast track in Armour All qualifying trim.
Supercars really doing 27s around here. That's extraordinarily quick, isn't it?
It's like watching World Time Attack out there.
Not doing 3s at Bathurst. That'll never happen. Oh, wait. Oops.
Wall's close enough. 2 laps to go this time by. O'Keefe has built 1.8 seconds ahead of this little battle. Raginga behind him has a 5-second time penalty, but has room at the moment. Wall, aggressive at turn 1. Not close enough again. Now will Bamber cover?
Wasn't
sure does.
Calling his name or making an exclamation about the move, because it would have been Wall as he goes down the inside. Oh, no.
Yeah.
A push.
He's putting the pressure on now. Turning it up to 11 on Will Bamber. It'll be very impressive if Will can hang on to P2 in this field today and fend off the defending champion, no less.
And well done to that team who changed the gearbox between races 1 and 2 in 90 minutes.
Oops.
Little handbrakes.
Oh, that was close to the pack. Is that behind Bo?
He's on the comeback trail. Yeah, it is. He's 17th and 18th place. Cannot help racing car drivers. They'll always have a go.
Turn 2, Will Bamber and David Wall. We saw the onboard of how close it was. So close, they just made the tiny bit of contact.
You need to be careful with that, actually, Chad, because last weekend in a GT3 Cup Challenge round at Queensland Raceway, Cooper Murray leads that series, actually DNF, because he rear-ended Simon Fallon. Gentle touch like that. Fallon's exhaust actually punctured his radiator. So just give it just the wrong angle and it dropped all the cord and it was day over. So you need to be careful about little contact like that. Bamber's blocking aggressively now, defending his line. This is all David Wall's now. Bamber's slowed up. They start the final lap. Wobble, turn 1, here goes Wall.
Got him now.
Wow.
Decent scrap. Bamber refusing to go quietly into the night, quite literally. And Wall will finally get that move done. Nearly swapped a bit more paint down the front straight. Decent scrap. It's good work from him.
That was great. Bamber was aggressive defending, and we've seen that a lot this weekend from our Carrera Cup Asia visitors, but it was that wobble at turn 1 that ultimately set the move up for David Wall. He would have gone at turn 1, probably. Well, actually, he might have, based on what we've seen this weekend, but just cost Bamber momentum. Still, he'll be on the podium. Another race where both series are represented. And well done to both the teams at Carrera Cup Australia and Asia. It's been a logistical exercise, 6 months in the making to pull this round off. And the team, Jochen Schaefer, who heads up Carrera Cup Asia, Claire and all of the crew there have done an amazing job. Their drivers have responded by putting on a great show and flying the flag. But on home turf, the Aussies are going to get a win.
Dylan O'Keefe picked up his first Carrera Cup win earlier today in the championship, and he'll back that up by showing the pros how it's done. He wins the Asia versus Australia pro race under lights in front of this big crowd in Sydney. And that was a great drive from David Wall to get up to second after a slow start. Will Bamber really struggling third. Raginga home for 4th, and will keep it too, because his 5-second penalty will not push him back to where Jackson Evans sits in 5th. Wood, Moffat, Armand, Hill juiced the top 10, and that was a great way to build the hype and action of the night race here. A little taste test of what's to come.
Pretty tasty for mine. Really liked it, Chad.
Great stuff. That crowd is huge here tonight. And Carrera Cup action under lights. As Krause would say, it's a thing. and it's a good thing indeed. Dylan O'Keefe in the APB group. This young man has closed the championship up this weekend as well in the Australian series, and this is a nice touch, finishing off what's been a great weekend for Dylan O'Keefe. Put that car on the front row earlier in the weekend, and he has picked up a strong race victory, 1.7 seconds ahead of David Wall. And he is nearly ready for the next step, Dylan O'Keefe, and it's going to be big whatever he goes for next. Will Bamba third, Martin Ragingo making it two of the Asian competitors inside the top 5. All the way down through tonight, Sefin Thirikal and Philip Hamprack to actually recover back to 15th after his spin.
So 3 Carrera Cup Asia representatives in the 10 as well. Maxime Juice got into the 10 at the end. DNFs for Jordan Love and Chris Vanderdrift. What a race, what a show, under lights. Porsche action setting the scene for what is still to come this evening. David Wall, he will be punishing himself over the starts this weekend. Dylan O'Keefe celebrating them. A brilliant launch, and then this battle, ragging a lead early. That was the key moment. O'Keefe down the inside to grab the race lead. And then it got busy.
Got relegated from 1st to 4th in about 1,500 metres of racetrack. Didn't work out for him. Jordan Love got a drive through for this one. Just tagging the side of Philip Hamprack. It was line ball, but the line judge said that's a penalty and sent him into the pit lane as a result. Moment of the race. Watch this one. The rear end stepping out on Pete Major, and he goes flying off at 200 k's, backwards through the gravel, the wall, the tyres. No, we're okay.
I cannot believe he got away with that.
Back into it.
I don't think he can either. Amazing. And then it was James Moffat having a battle with Darwood. Just grabbed the brake. You can see the rotors glowing. The front stoppers on these Porsches work very, very hard. And this was cool. Wheel to wheel. Will Bamba. He fought bravely. Fought right to the very end. On the penultimate lap, David Wall was able to slip through. What a day it's been for Dylan O'Keefe. Slashed the championship lead down, won a race for the first time, and won the 3rd ever joint race between Carrera Cup Australia and Asia. What a day for the young man from Melbourne.